Hi guys, welcome to Ms. Newhouser's math class. There's just a couple of things that I want to let you guys know about how things are routinely going to go in class before we get started with some actual fun stuff for the first day. So the first routine I want to talk about is your cell phones and the cell phone caddy. We will not be using cell phones in class, and therefore, to keep you from getting distracted by them, we have the cell phone caddy. So on the cell phone caddy, you'll find an index card with your name on it. There's also a pencil and a pen, either blue or red, depending on which math you are in. If you're in Math 1, it's red. If you're in Math 2, it's going to be blue. And this pencil and this pen are for math class only. So if you need a pencil during math class, you'll come get this pencil out of the caddy when you walk into class, and you'll use it. And when we need the red pens, I'll let you know on the screen for the warm-up. For your cell phone, please make sure that it is turned on silent or turned completely off, and then slip it in the cell phone caddy behind your name, and then walk to your seat. So after you put your cell phone in the cell phone caddy, when you come into class, you're going to find your seat and get your materials out right away and then start the warm-up. On a normal day, there will be a warm-up on the screen as you guys come in. Most warm-ups are going to be individual unless otherwise specified. And it will be on the warm-up board if it's going to be individual or with your group. Now let's get to the syllabus and we'll talk about the turn-in folder. All right. Real quickly, let's start talking about our syllabus for this Math 2 course. On your guys' desk for today, the rest of the week, you guys will have to send somebody from your group to go get this. It's called a turn-in folder. All right, so this folder should be on your desk for your whole group. If you are like in group 1, period 1, it'll say G1, P1 on the top of your folder. All right, so the G goes with the group number that you're in, and the P goes with the period that you're in for each class. When you open that folder, there should be a couple days worth of stuff paper clipped together. So you guys should have, like day 1 stuff, day 2 stuff, and day 3 stuff inside your folder for this week. All right, on the top should be your Math 2 syllabus. So we'll talk about our syllabus really quickly. This is a Math 2 class, which is very different from Math 1, but it's very connected to Math 1. So the things that we've learned in Math 1, we're going to be strengthening throughout this Math 2 course. Math 2 is more geometry based than Math 1 was. There was a couple of geometry units within Math 1, but it was mostly algebra. So combining our algebra knowledge from Math 1 and then bringing it into Math 2, which will be including some of that geometry stuff. At the end of the year, you guys will take a Math 2 exam. It is not an EOC. So this will be like the 1 year in high school you're not taking an EOC for your math class. Expectations for this specific course, you guys will be working on Math 2 problems to prepare for the state exam. It's a state exam, but you guys, it's not an EOC, just a state exam, not an EOC. All right. Some of the things that I want to point out is classroom policies. I really, really need you guys to be on time to class, which means in that 5-minute break, you guys need to be using the restroom. You need to be getting all your stuff together. And by the bell, you need to be sitting in your seat. Okay. Have your materials ready before we get started. Raise your hand and wait to be called on before asking your questions. Refrain from using your phones, which you shouldn't be because they should be in the cell phone caddy. And then always do your best and don't be afraid to ask questions. A couple of things that you guys will be expecting this year, especially if you had me last year, there are a couple of different things. There will be a short quiz every week. This will be for monitoring purposes, and sometimes it'll go into PowerSchool as well. All right, I'll let you know when it'll go into PowerSchool. Grades will be updated once a week unless there is like a crazy week or something like that going on. Then I'll let you know that your grades haven't been updated. If you're turning in makeup work, your makeup work grade will definitely take some time to put in. All right, and that's just kind of a computer thing, not necessarily a time thing. Well, it's a little bit of both. We are going to be talking about cooperative learning today and tomorrow to get you kind of used to the style of learning that we're going to be, or the style of learning practice that we're going to be using in class. We're also going to be talking about inquiry-based learning in the days to come. But those are our two main learning practices or learning strategies that we'll be using. And you guys will have weekly homework. We'll talk about the weekly homework more and more as we kind of get into class and stuff like that. But the assignment should never take more than an hour to complete, and they're not ever going to be for a grade, right? Homework is for you guys to practice, but I will ask questions about it in class, even though it won't be for a grade. Here is the information in your syllabus that is specific to Math 2 Honors for first period. We've got where I'm at, so room 1228 in the blue hallway in the upper school. You guys are in the first period class. Here's my contact information and my title. All right, so I'm Miss Newhauser, not Mrs. All right, your Google Classroom code. So once you guys get your laptops, this Google Classroom code is what's going to get you into our specific Google Classroom for Math 2 Honors. The instructions are right here on how to do that. Once you get onto the Google Classroom, it would be super helpful for me, for you guys, and for your parents if you add your parents using their email address. I will be communicating through the Google Classroom to your parents. Also, your parents will be able to see what assignments you have assigned to you, and they'll be able to see the class calendar as well. When you sign your parents up for the Google Classroom, or add your parents, to the Google Classroom, please let them know that your grades will never be posted on Google Classroom. So there will be a form potentially in Climb today that you guys will get that will show your parents how to get onto the parent portal for PowerSchool. That's where I'm posting grades. I'm never going to post them on Google Classroom. So if your parents ever have any questions about that, you can refer to your second page of your syllabus and you can say, guess what, parents, it's not going to be on Google Classroom ever. It's always going to be on PowerSchool. So just keep that in mind. And for your guys' sake as well, just check PowerSchool. Don't check at Google Classroom. If you are missing work, check PowerSchool first, and then you can check the Google Classroom for that assignment. So I'll be posting assignments and making announcements on Google Classroom, but not grading. Speaking of grades, which I know is very important to you guys, this is standards-based grading. So if you have not been at ICI before previously, we do not use the regular numerical grading scale that other schools use. We use what's called standard-based grading. Standard-based grading is basically used to help you guys monitor where you are at in a particular topic. So it's building on until you have met proficiency or even gone above and beyond the proficiency for that particular topic. So this is just an explanation of all of our different scores and different grades. So an NE is that lowest grade right there, which is not evident. Novice is the next one, which is an N in PowerSchool. DP, MP, and then AP being the highest grade. We'll talk about retakes when we get to our first activity that we'll actually need to retake, that we'll be taking for a grade. Other than that, this syllabus needs to be the first thing that is in your 3-ring binder. So on your materials list, one of the things that you guys need for your math class is a separate 3-ring binder. It does not have to be a massive 3-ring binder, but it needs to be at least 1 inch. So in your binder, if you already have it today, all right, this syllabus needs to go in front. So it needs to be the first thing in there, and then every time we start adding things, everything is going to go behind this syllabus. So I'll give you guys some time right now to put in your syllabus and your binder, and then we'll move on. So in your folder, in today's paperclip should be this packet. So we're going to go through this packet today and talk about cooperative learning and cooperative learning groups. It's going to be different than group work, and I'm going to show you how that's going to work. Most of the activities and lessons that we're going to be doing in class during our time this year are going to be cooperative learning activities. So a couple things about myself. Before we get started, because you're going to get to know me this year, so you might as well know some things about me as we get started. This is my 7th year teaching. This will be my 2nd year at ICI, or 2.5 year, I guess, because I did come in the middle of the year in 2019 to 2020. I graduated from Elon University in 2015, which means last year was my 10-year reunion for high school. I did go to Reynolds for high school, so I do know the area pretty well. From 2015 to 2017, I taught in Folkestone, England, in a charter school in Folkestone, England. And then from 2017 to the beginning of 2020, I taught at Reynolds High School. And this is really exciting. Even though I'm not here today, this will be my first year in person at ICI, which is going to be really great. So before we get started, on your packet, please put your name as it appears in PowerSchool. And then if you have a different name that you go by, all right, that's where you're going to put your preferred name right there. All right. So for example, my middle name is Elizabeth. All right. So if that was my name as it appeared on PowerSchool, if it said Elizabeth Newhauser, but I preferred to go by Lizzie, that's what I would put in the preferred name box. All right. So I'll give you guys a second to do that. And then when we break here for a couple minutes, I want you guys to get to know your group. This is going to be your cooperative learning group for a while. It's not going to be for the whole year, but it's going to be for a good chunk of the first part of the year. So you need to get to know these people. Cooperative learning is different from just group work. The actual definition of cooperative learning is where a group works together towards a common goal. In your groups, our common goal is going to be learning particular standards. When we're working in groups, we tend to want to chunk and break up some of the work and then copy everybody else's work. That's not cooperative learning. Cooperative learning is when everybody is responsible for their learning, and then we help the rest of the group learn. Okay. So as we kind of get started getting to know these groups, because you guys are going to be learning together for a while, you should have no more than 4 people in your group. You may not have 4 people in your group, so you may have 3 people in your group. But this is a spot where you're going to put in your group members' names, and you're going to ask them about their favorite hobby. You're going to ask them what country they would like to live in besides the U.S., and then what mascot you would like for ICI. So if the Kingfisher was not the mascot for ICI already, what mascot would they prefer to have for the school? When you are doing this, we're going to practice what's called active learning, which means you're not actually going to write things down while they're talking. You're going to wait for them to finish talking, then you're going to write their things down, and then you go to the next group member. So figure out who's going to go first, and you're going to have about 5 minutes. So I know that you guys have lots of things to talk about, like what happened over the summer and stuff like that, but you're only going to be limited to 5 minutes here. So 5 minutes, get to know your group partners, and fill in your table. So now that you know some things about your group members or your group team members, we are also going to establish some group roles. So all cooperative learning groups have these group roles, and you're not going to necessarily be stuck in this group role for the entire time that you're with this group, but you do need to establish a group role for the beginning of the year for a little while at least. Some of you guys who have groups of 3, there's going to be at least one person that's going to have 2 group roles. So if you're going to have 2 group roles, I would pick like the 2 easiest group roles so that you're not feeling overwhelmed when you're working in your cooperative learning group. So the group roles are quite simple. We have a timekeeper, who is the person who will keep track of time. We have a facilitator, who is kind of like the group leader, but really what the facilitator is doing is ensuring that all the ideas are being heard. So again, that active listening. You know, the facilitator might have to say sometimes, hey, stop arguing. Let's let so-and-so talk first, listen to them, and then we'll let you talk, and then we'll listen to you, and then we'll come together with some kind of compromise. So that's kind of the job of the facilitator, which is kind of a heavy-duty job. All right. Recorder is going to be the person that writes down all the team ideas. If you guys have seen in the front of the room, and I'll give you guys a second in a little while to kind of transition and get some of those whiteboards. But at the front of the room, there are some whiteboards with the black markers in a kind of a bin thing. I guess I'll show you when I get there. The recorder can actually record ideas on that whiteboard, and that way we can have the ideas written for when you guys are ready to write on your paper. So that'll be the job of the recorder. Spokesperson, this will be the person that shares their team's ideas when the class or the teacher asks them to. So when we come back together and talk about the things that we have learned, either at the end of the class period or during a lesson, that is what the spokesperson will do. The spokesperson will also be responsible for like writing responses on the whiteboard that will be seen by the entire class. Okay, so just so you know, that's another spokesperson kind of duty. So you guys are going to have about 3 minutes to decide who's going to be the timekeeper, facilitator, recorder, and spokesperson. Again, if you have 3 members in your group, or if somebody is not here today in your group, then you're just going to have to fill in their name somewhere. And then also 3 people, at least one person is going to have 2 roles. So 3 minutes, figure out, discuss amongst yourselves what group role you're going to want for at least the beginning of the school year. All right, now that you've had some time to establish what each person is going to be in the group, we're going to start referring to our group as a math team. All right, I don't know if you've noticed, but I kind of like soccer and I kind of coach soccer. Some of you I even coached last year. So teams are a pretty important part. So now we're going to start thinking of our group as our math team, right? We all have roles on the team and we all have to do our part in order to make sure that the team works. So as part of building a team culture, one of your guys' homework assignments this week is going to be creating a team banner. Hopefully there is somebody who is a little bit artistic in your group, but everybody's ideas should go into the team banner. So think about a team name, right? Just off of the top of my head, for some reason, a team name like Kingfishers is coming up. So if my team is going to be the Kingfishers, then our banner should have our team name on it. We're going to be the Kingfishers, and then some kind of artistic representation of a kingfisher. So hopefully somebody in your group is really artistic. If not, maybe there's multiple people in your group that's really artistic. But also, I'm not going to grade on how awesome your drawing is, but it does give you guys a little creative space to kind of create this team banner. This team banner is going to be one of your homework assignments for this week. So you're going to have to come back together with your team quite often because it's going to be hard for all 4 people to draw on your banner at one time, right? There is some white paper up at the front of the room that you guys will be drawing your banner on. But this space right here is brainstorming space. So especially for the person who's going to be taking this home and drawing on it, you need to put into space what you guys are going to draw or what you want to draw on it. So I'm giving you 5 minutes. So timekeeper, you need to keep time, 5 minutes. Clock is at the front of the room underneath the TV. All right, you have 5 minutes to brainstorm what you want your team's name to be and then what you want on your team banner. When you guys turn this banner in on Friday, I'm going to laminate it and it's going to be taped onto your folder, your group folder, so that when you come up for your group folder, you'll always be looking for your team banner. So 5 minutes, team name, team banner, go. Awesome. So hopefully you guys have had some time to talk about your team banner. Now we're going to work on what's called team norms. This is kind of like our team rules. So if you look back or think back to some assignments before in the past where you've worked with a group, particularly group work, as we would kind of phrase it, there may be some unpleasant experiences that you've had in the past. These unpleasant experiences may have stemmed from not establishing rules or norms at the beginning of the group work. So that's what we're going to do. And these team norms, we're going to come together on Thursday and talk about them more in depth. But these are things that you personally would like your team members to act and behave like when you guys are working as a team. So one of the things that I think of when I think about teamwork is when somebody is not doing their part. So for example, we all have bad days. However, if you are not actively participating in your group work or in your team's work, then you may be preventing somebody else from learning. You're definitely preventing yourself from learning. All right. If we think about it on a soccer field, right? If somebody just gives up, all right, okay, let's do basketball. I don't know. Maybe you guys play basketball. All right. If somebody on your team just gives up and stops playing, they're just taking up space on the field or on the court, and it's ruining your game. All right. You're probably going to start losing. Maybe. You may have 4 other amazing NBA players or something like that that will carry the rest of the team. But you're not getting what you need out of the team, and then they are not getting what they need from you as a team. So thinking about to these team norms, some of the norms that I get a lot from students is that everybody needs to do their part. Everybody needs to participate. Participation is a really big thing. However, think also about, do you want your team members obviously to respect you, right? If there's something that they have to bring into class, they need to be responsible. So you can have as many team norms or expectations that you want for your group. So we're going to do what's called think, pair, share here in a second with these team norms. So think is this part right here where you're going to do it on your own. For 2 minutes, you're going to think about the expectations that you want from yourself and also from every single member of your team. All right. And you're going to write those down in that space and on a Post-it note as well. Then you're going to pair up with one person in your group. If you have a group of 3, you guys are just all going to have to pair up together. But if you have a group of 4, you're going to pair up with one other person in your group, and you're going to kind of combine or talk about the norms that they have created and the norms that you have created. And then you guys are going to come together on a couple of norms that you're going to agree on, and you're going to put it on another Post-it note and in this space right here. And then you're going to share with your whole group. And you're going to take a Post-it note for your entire team. And you're going to write the norms that you guys agree on. And then you guys are going to put it on the poster that is for your class. Okay, it'll say like Math 1, Period 4, Period 7. You guys are going to put those on your poster. Then on Thursday, we're going to have like a little bit of time together to talk about those specific team norms that you guys put up on your guys's poster. Okay, so think, pair, share. It's going to be, timekeeper, you can kind of watch the time. You're going to have 2 minutes to think on your own, 3 minutes to pair, and then 2 minutes to talk with your whole group and post your Post-it note on the poster. All right, I'll kind of have the slides on the screen to kind of prompt you when you're supposed to pair and when you're supposed to share and when you're supposed to think. All right, so go ahead and do that. So guys, once you've put your Post-it note on your class's folder or class's poster, that does look like all the time that we're going to have today with each other. So if you would put your packet that you've been working on back into the paper clip with a Post-it note that says day 1 on the front, all right, for August 9th. And then you're going to put that in your turn-in folder, all right, which is the folder that's on your group's desk. And in the back of the turn-in folder is a list for cleaning, a little checklist. So you probably only need 1 wipe per table. Make sure that you're wiping the chairs and the tables down. If you got dirty or something or have dirt underneath your table, there's a broom in the back that you can sweep under the table, get it real clean real quick, and then pick up and throw away any trash that might be left around your table. The spokesperson will take your guys' turn-in folder and will put it on the front table over your guys' class period, and we'll collect it tomorrow when we get to class. I hope you guys are having a good first day of school, and I will see you back tomorrow.